You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley, with Insurance for Texans. We help Texas church leaders protect their church's mission with clarity and confidence. This week, we will be focused on liability insurance for Texas churches. Pastor Robert led a growing church in Waco, a vibrant congregation where everything was going well. But all that changed one Sunday morning in early December. That morning, a member walked through the front doors, stepped on a wet patch near the entrance, and went down hard. She suffered a cracked skull, which resulted in months off work, lost income, and high medical bills. As a result, she decided to sue the church for damages. Thankfully, the church's insurance company stepped in with legal defense. The legal bills alone were something that made Pastor Robert swallow hard and ponder what other liability exposures his church might not be prepared for. He sat down with one of our church insurance agents and examined the church's policy. We helped him to understand the top 3 liability risks that Texas churches face. The first risk is slip and fall accidents. These are the most common and expensive liability claims churches face. Pastor Robert understood this one well. Even minor falls can lead to huge expenses. Protecting your church from these incidents is twofold. First is prevention, regular walkthroughs, prompt cleanup, fixed handrails, good lighting, clear walkways are just a few ways to remove potential hazards. Second is a solid general liability policy that covers bodily injury, medical expenses, and legal defense. This policy is the foundation that protects your church, but it is not the only type of liability policy you should have. The second most common type of liability that churches face is that related to counseling. Many pastors provide marital counseling, grief support, or spiritual guidance. These activities can be part of a pastor's calling, but they carry risk. If someone believes the advice caused emotional harm or made their situation worse, they can file a lawsuit. And even if the claim has no merit, the church still has to defend it. That's where pastoral counseling liability comes in. It covers claims of negligent advice, emotional injury allegations, and legal defense costs. In addition to the right policy, training your pastoral team and setting clear boundaries around counseling expectations also helps lower the risk. The third liability risk that Texas churches face is one that no one really wants to talk about, and that is abuse or molestation allegations. Texas churches that work with youth, children, or vulnerable adults must reckon with the reality that even an unsubstantiated claim can damage reputations, split congregations, trigger media coverage, and cost tens or hundreds of thousands in legal fees. There are several steps that your leadership can take in order to prevent some of these claims from even happening in the first place. Things like background checks for staff and volunteers, a 2-adult policy, mandatory reporting procedures, and ongoing training all go a long way to prevent abuse. Alongside these preventative measures, churches also need abuse and molestation liability coverage. It pays for legal defense, settlements, crisis response, and reputation management. After the slip and fall lawsuit, Pastor Robert discovered what most churches eventually learn, and that is general liability policies are just the starting point. Churches need to consider adding coverage for other liability risks as well. At Insurance for Texans, we built our True Texas Church Insurance program with these things in mind. We help Texas churches evaluate real liability risks and craft policies that cover what actually matters most to them. Whether your congregation is large or small, the right liability protection makes sure one incident doesn't derail years of faithful work. If you have questions or concerns about your church's liability coverage, connect with our church insurance team today by visiting our website at insurancefortexans.com. If this episode left you wondering what else you need to know about church insurance, get a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. It's a short and easy read that will give you, as a church leader, clarity about church insurance. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith Stewardship and Insurance, protecting Texas churches. Until next time, remember, a little bit of preparation today could save your church a lot of heartache in the future.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.